There is a YouTube channel called DUS Dava run by a man named Shamsi. From what I can see in his videos, he seems to be residing in England and is doing plenty of street interviews with the public on Islam. However, one of his videos caught my eyes titled Shamsi versus Vegan. Veganism, subjective or objective? Basically, a vegan activist was standing on the streets holding a placard, and Shamsi and his friends decided to have a conversation with him. Despite veganism being completely logically sound, our vegan activist friend here had quite some difficulty in conveying the message. Not because he did not know what to say, but because Shamsi and his friends were not too keen on listening. So I am now going to go through this entire video and refute and debunk any illogical statements made by Shamsi and his friends.
The camera. Who knows what is good for it, what is bad for it in detail? The one who made it.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a logical argument. So likewise, the logic dictates the one who should tell us what to eat and what not to eat and what is good for us, what is bad for us in detail. Because generally speaking, we know. But in detail, you need the creator.
Okay, right at the beginning, Shamsi wants to establish that there is a God and he wants to continue the conversation from that point of view. Although I am an atheist myself, let's run with this line of thinking for the moment.
I don't have to know the person who made the phone. By me analyzing the phone, by seeing there's a camera, there is a menu, there is many things.
I see what you're saying.
Which indicate someone made it. Which indicate knowledge, power, ability, and wisdom.
So you're saying morality comes from the Holy Scripture?
Without any doubt. Otherwise, you'll be subjective.
Okay, so Shamsi agrees with the vegan and says that our morality should come from God, which means scriptures. Firstly, which God and which scripture? I know that Shamsi believes in the Quran, but that is because he was born in Algeria to a Muslim family. If he were born in a Hindu family in India, he would believe that the Gita was right. And if he were born in a Catholic family in France, he would have believed that the Bible was right. Now, I am aware that many conversations and debates have taken place in order to find out which religion is right and which religion is the best to follow. And not to mention, plenty of conversions have also taken place. But in the end, the vast majority of human beings who were born into a particular religion tend to defend their stance just because they were born into it. If there is a creator, so be it. And if he really has given us a set of instructions to follow, let us do so. But to say that the right instructions are found only in the book that you believe in is not making a good argument. Now, I want to present a new line of thinking to all those out there who use the religion scriptures as a form of reasoning to justify violent actions. Firstly, I have no problems with people quoting the scriptures for doing their prayers or for helping others. But I do have a problem when people quote their scriptures to justify killing or hurting others, be it a human or an animal. If you are going to point at your scriptures as a justification to eat meat, then I am forced to ask you, do you honestly think that the best way of communication for the all-powerful and all-knowing God, the God who created the cosmos, the planets we live on, and the life on it, is through a book? God does not write books. Humans write books in the name of God. God can work in far better ways than just giving us an instruction manual. And I will tell you what God has given all of us to make us understand right from wrong as this video goes on.
So if I establish there is a creator for this tremendous, beautiful universe, logic dictates he has the absolute truth. Otherwise, you and I, I'm gonna say maybe, I think, like I live in a country, maybe we need the meat. You're gonna tell me I live in a country, we need the veg. Because you, again, your opinion is subjective, correct? And God's judgment is objective. So that's my point. My point is, again, all of that leave it. The point here is, if we accept there is God, logic dictates we have to follow what God said. As for you, they're suffering, they're this, they're that.
Well, I would argue as a vegan, we do not look at subjective opinion, but rather at objective opinion. And the only person's opinion that matters in this case is the animal's opinion. The animal that is being exploited and murdered. Like Shamsi says, we might feel that we think this or we feel that, but the animal is always going to be clear. Hands off, leave me alone and don't hurt me. They do not want to be our food. It is their opinion that matters the most, because when violence happens, you always have to look at it from the victim's point of view. Because when you are not the victim, it becomes pretty easy to rationalize and justify violence and cruelty and sometimes even murder. Like I stated earlier, I think God would have left us with something other than just text in order to tell us what to do. We all have something known as a conscience, and we also have the power to use empathy. This is not something that needs to be taught to us or given to us in writing. These are two qualities that we innately possess. Sadly, due to social conditioning, our childlike empathy begins to slowly get corrupted as it's exposed to more and more violence. Children who live in an abusive household grow up thinking that domestic violence is normal and acceptable. acceptable. Similarly, children living in certain parts of society where they grow up seeing the slaughter of certain species of animals on a regular basis believe that said violence towards certain species of animals is acceptable and normal. But as stated earlier, from the victim's point of view, it is never acceptable. There is a reason why slaughterhouses don't have glass walls. There is a reason why the videos which depict the slaughter of animals for food on social media are censored. We humans do not want to see and are not comfortable when cruelty happens to animals. Now, of course, there are exceptions. There do exist people who are psychotic and who are innately cruel, but for the most part, most of us humans are not like that. We know it is wrong because we realize that they are alive just in the exact same way we are, and we are able to rationalize the issue from their shoes. Not to mention, in your own religion, God created two humans, Adam and Hawa, and they both resided in the Garden of Eden. Just ask yourself what they ate there. Were there slaughterhouses in the Garden of Eden, or were the first two human beings that God created vegan? Does that not mean then by your own logic that you should also be vegan?
Because I have people, they say, even the plant has a life as well.
It's alive, but they don't suffer. There's no evidence they suffer.
How do you know? Because you cannot see it, so how do you know?
I probably have a half a dozen videos going into detailed debunking and talking about plant sentience. If you want to learn about them, please check out these videos either on Facebook or on YouTube.
Yes, how do you know? That's my point. So because you cannot see it, so therefore now, if I kill someone by poison, he's not going to suffer, he's going to die straight away. Severe poison. So therefore, there's no problem with that because he never suffered.
No, but my problem isn't just with the suffering. That's
but you suffered.
This is sadly what happens when a person does not understand the vegan argument. The activist here did not mean that a painless death to a feeling organism is vegan. He meant that death to an organism which cannot feel is vegan. Also, Shamsi, I have to point out your hypocrisy here. Earlier in one of your videos, you were told that two wrongs do not make a right. That is, when someone tries to accuse you of something, you don't try to accuse them back of the same thing. Instead, you actually try to defend your own point.
You know what you just did? You know when someone, if you're a murderer, instead of defending yourself, you say, but you're a murderer too.
No. The thing is, I can't defend myself.
If you're a murderer, instead of defending yourself, you say, but you're a murderer too.
Ironically enough, in that video, you actually used the example of murder. So going by your own words, defend yourself, brother.
Well, my point is that you look into the sheep, how do you know it's suffering? How do you know that's not a reaction? Did the God complain to you?
Because they react in the same ways we do. So I can't prove.
Did the God complain to you?
Suppose there is a child who is 1 or 2 years old and has been through abuse. They don't speak language. They can't voice out their grievances. What about their suffering then? A crime does not become alright just because the victim of the crime cannot voice out their grievances in a language that is understood by humans. So how do you know if another human who does not speak your language is against you killing them? Well, let's see. Screaming, trying to run away from you, trembling, crying, bleeding profusely from the neck. All of these clues add up to show that someone is being harmed. No one likes to be harmed. You don't need to have a degree in rocket science to understand that. Also, this question can be reversed and asked back to you. Did any goat or any animal tell you, please kill me, please slit my throat, please sacrifice me in the name of God, please make me pregnant, please kill my children and then steal my milk? Did any animal ever say any of that to you? If not, then why do you do such things to them?
No, but that's your opinion that you think is oppressive.
We are oppressing them.
No, but God tell us to do it.
He said that we...
Suffering is a relative evil.
Hey, look.
That's why it's not understanding. You know, suffering, the reason why you say it's evil or something bad is because as human beings, relatively, we find suffering to be something bad that we don't like.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that for every single thing, suffering is a bad thing.
Firstly, I find it quite unfair that Shamsi and his friends are not giving the vegan activist the time he needs to respond. To say that the same suffering when happening to you is wrong, but when happening to others is not wrong, is literally the very definition of the word discrimination. And if you are a discriminatory person, I can't mince my words. That makes you a hypocrite and a bigot of the tallest order.
Look. If we have other human beings telling you, listen, when you stab me, I'm suffering, therefore you should dictate if there's a human being being stabbed because other human beings suffer, same thing.
Right.
No, wait.
I understand what you're saying.
But that applies to your animals.
Sure.
The fact that this person thinks that being human for some reason is different enough to justify exploiting and murdering animals is the exact same reason that a racist would use skin color as a difference enough to exploit and kill humans. The discrimination that has been indoctrinated into you sadly from birth is called as speciesism. And all forms of discrimination, racism, sexism, heterosexism, and speciesism are all wrong. If one form of discrimination is suddenly all right, then that is a gateway to saying that all forms of discrimination are all right.
Are you now gonna go in Africa, stopping the lion to eat other animals?
No.
Why?
There's a reason why. Though,
Let me
you
answer.
want. Yeah, go on.
So because, number one, animals have a necessity to eat other animals. They're obligate carnivores. They can't survive without. They can't live off plants like we can.
It's grass.
That's
Some of
why
them.
we can't. You have to have supplements. Do you or do you not have to have supplements?
I take a B12
Oh,
supplement.
there you go.
That's it. You got
wait.
it.
What's it called?
Because you know fishing.
Wait,
Imagine you tell a human not to murder another human and they end up saying to you, but lions murder other lions. This is what is known as an appeal to nature fallacy. You want to use the word nature only to justify you victimizing someone else, but not when you're getting victimized. Also, like the activist stated, lions are obligate carnivores. You are not, which makes your entire comparison meaningless. I don't get it. Taking B12 supplements apparently invalidates the reasoning that exploiting animals is wrong. It's not because we don't eat meat that we don't get B12. It is because the modern sanitary conditions have become so bad that we vegans are not able to obtain B12 naturally through our diet. Not to mention the animals that you eat are fed B12 supplements as well, and that's where you get your B12 from. What's up with that? If you want to learn more about B12 and as to why vegans take B12 supplements, I suggest you check out this video.
Bread. Do you eat bread? Do you eat bread?
Yes.
Do you eat bread? How many insects get killed in the bread market?
Okay, let me ask.
How many insects get
Let
killed
me
in the
answer.
bread market?
Will you let me answer after you ask me a question? Thank you. So let me answer you.
He's more than he left. More than that.
Can we have a
One point.
One point.
Okay,
listen.
And it is from this point onwards till the end of the video that everything starts to go downhill. There are various psychological games at play here that make it seem like the vegan activist is not able to answer the questions. But let me break those tropes one by one down for you guys. Surrounding a speaker from all sides, laughing and making snide facial remarks does not mean that the argument you make is valid. Having a louder voice in your opposing speaker also does not mean that your point is valid. And also, it is only common courtesy in a debate to let the opposing person speak as well, instead of constantly interrupting them. Shamsi is being very hypocritical here. When he wants to present a point and is surrounded by a gang, he wants his voice to be heard.
Wait. You know better. Everyone keep quiet.
But when this vegan activist is trying to speak and his gang is surrounding him, they don't let him talk.
Are you going to stop eating bread? Stop eating bread today and stop eating vegetables.
Please, let me talk.
And if you want to, sorry,
Let
if you
me
want to
talk.
throw vegetables,
Let me answer you.
He's more than he left.
are you going to stop? Every day you live, you're killing insects. Can you live with that?
Will you let me talk?
This isn't a debate. You're just shouting at.
But let's address the actual question in detail right now. What about animals and insects who are killed during cultivation? To understand this, the definition of veganism needs to be first understood. Veganism means living without exploiting any animal and not living without killing any animal. It is absolutely impossible to live this life without killing animals, and we vegans are very well aware of that. From accidents to deforestations to pest infestations, there will always be a struggle and fight for life between the human race and animals. No one can sadly stop this. This is nature. But the forced impregnations, the baby stealing, and the premeditated murder of animals can be stopped. We can't stop the violence that takes place in our country's borders now, can we? But we can at least not use that as an excuse to justify enslaving and killing other humans in society. I repeat, if a vegan activist states that we have to live our life without killing animals, that activist is wrong. We can only live our life without exploiting animals or killing them with premeditation. Now, this comparison of breeding animals and slaughtering them to the death of insects during crop cultivation is incorrect on multiple levels. A man taking a knife and cutting the head off of another human being is not the same as a car accident. A car accident, as it's clearly mentioned in the word itself, is an accident. You cannot compare accidents with premeditated murder. Also, when an animal is raised for slaughter, it is either caged or tied up and then killed within 4 walls. In case you're comparing killing of insects or other smaller animals when a tractor is plowing through, these animals actually have a chance to escape. No one is holding them down. So when you eat meat, an animal has to die 100% of the time. But when I use a tractor or a harvester, an animal does not have to die. They do have a chance to escape. They are also not being force bred into this world. You don't give farm animals that option. So how on earth is your comparison valid? And again, going back to your statement in the previous video.
You know what you just did? You know it's about if you're a murderer, instead of defending yourself, you say, but you're a murderer too. No. The thing is, I can't defend myself.
You are literally pointing at the vegan and saying you are a murderer too, instead of defending yourself and also not allowing him to speak. Hypocrisy of the highest level. And the final nail in the coffin is what the vegan activist is trying to convey. Animal products contain way more crop-related deaths because more crops have to be fed to animals in order to kill them and get a small portion of meat in return. On average, it takes around 16 kilograms of plant produce to get 1 kilogram of meat. So even though it is not exploitation, by your own logic, you're killing more animals.
If I accidentally was testing a bomb, yeah, for example, and I nuked the area, I nuked the island, yeah, and I found out there was people there, would I go and do it again in the same place? No. If the first time was an accident, the second time is an accident.
Comparing a nuclear explosion to a tractor running through a field. If for some reason you think that these two are the same, you need to get some serious help, my friend. Okay, let me get this straight. This guy wants to compare the evacuation of humans from an area to evacuating insects. Dude, do you have any idea how small insects are? How on earth do you evacuate all the insects from an area? How do you even know you've evacuated all the insects? We can take a head count when it comes to humans, dogs, cats, pigs, cows, donkeys, and many other animals because they are big. How to live your life without harming insects is something that Shamsi and his friends need to teach me because even we vegans are dying to know the solution. We vegans never called you out for accidentally killing insects. We called you out for exploiting farmed animals, and we are actually giving you a solution to that. Since you called us out for killing insects, it is your responsibility to give us a solution. There is a difference between what vegans accuse non-vegans of and what non-vegans accuse vegans of. We are actually following the values that we preach while you are living the exact same life that you accuse us of living, which once again makes you the hypocrite. In conclusion to this video, I want to ask the audience watching who are not yet vegan one simple question. People usually ask, how far will you go to help someone? I'm asking, how far will you go to kill someone? You are free to practice any religion you want to. We vegans do not have a problem with your religion. We do, however, have an issue with you using religion as an excuse to behave in a discriminatory or violent manner towards animals. No religion on earth mandates eating meat, and no benevolent and merciful God would want us to kill his children for food when we clearly have so many other options to eat. So please be considerate, stop being a hypocrite, and live vegan. If you want to learn more about veganism, please do check out my YouTube channel, Facebook page, and Instagram account. I have so many videos about veganism. If you want to talk or interact with other vegans in India, I suggest you join the Facebook group India Vegan Revolution and post your questions there. Once again, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.